All right, I want to make sure that I am live here. Cool. So, have you ever wondered how people, music creators, producers, composers, beat makers, not even music creators, but anyone in the music sort of atmosphere, music industry, can join the Recording Academy? Not just attending the Grammy events, not just watching the Grammys in person, but actually becoming part of the organization behind the Grammy Awards. In this video, I'm going to break down how step by step, the process, who can apply, the recommendations, what the different types of memberships are, how the Grammy U works, and what we should know before starting the process, what you should know before starting the process. First, I want to clear up one thing. You don't just apply directly by yourself. To apply to be in the Recording Academy for voting and professional membership, the process starts with 2 recommendations from people who currently work in the music industry. Those people who recommend you to join the Academy do not have to be Recording Academy members, but they do need to be verifiable music industry professionals, and it does help if they are in the Recording Academy. The recommendations I got, I am the class of 2024, are from people who are in the Academy. One of them is someone from the Mixing Night audio community. He gave me a recommendation, and another one I got the last day that the recommendations or the application was due. Like literally the day before, I found a friend of a friend of a friend who still had 1 recommendation left, and he was able to get a recommendation in for my application. Once both recommendations are submitted, you'll receive an email with a link and candidate code so you can complete your career profile. That profile may include your bio, your credits, your discography, links to your work, and other documentation that proves that you are actively working in music. And after that, your submission goes through your peer review, and the Recording Academy says applications are reviewed by a peer review panel in the spring. The application deadline is usually March 1st every year. So once March 2nd hits, if you get a recommendation, those recommendations will be for the next year, March 1st. At the time of this recording, you'll have to wait until March 1st, for the next process, but you can get your application in any time before March 1st. So the best time is now to start getting those recommendations and get your application in, and then you just wait. So there will be a review panel after that March 1st date for that current class, the Recording Academy membership, and then approved candidates will receive invitations, usually around early mid-July. You'll start seeing people post, hey, I'm in the Academy. There's a lot of events that happen that for new members, new member orientation, things like that. So let's talk about the main membership types. There is the voting membership. I am a voting member. This is for creators, performers, songwriters, producers, engineers, instrumentalists, and other people actively working in the recording industry, the music industry. Voting members help determine the Grammy nominees and also the winners. As a voting member, you also can apply. You can submit your music to be considered for Grammy nomination. There's also professional membership. This is for music business professionals whose full-time work directly supports creators. Our daughter is studying to be an entertainment lawyer, so she could apply when she is a lawyer for a musician, for example, to be a professional member of the Recording Academy. So the professional memberships can include managers, agents, attorneys, lawyers, as I mentioned, educators, label professionals, publishers, basically any sort of admin, professional, educational industry role that's not directly related to the music creators. If you're not creating music, but you're still in the music industry on a tangent sort of professional line. Then there's another category called GRAMMY U, which is especially important for students and emerging music professionals. GRAMMY U is the Recording Academy's community for emerging creators and professionals who are pursuing a career in music. It offers mentorship. I've been a mentee since my first year, which has been great. It offers networking. They do events all around the country, networking events. There's professional development. There are job and internship resources and access to a larger music industry community. And for GRAMMY U in particular, there are 2 main tracks. There is the student track and the non-student track. So for Grammy U, the student application is for people 18 and older who are attending college, university, or trade school full-time. The non-student application is for emerging creators and professionals who are actively pursuing a career in music but may not be enrolled full-time in school. So again, you have Grammy U for people 18, I believe the age range is 18 to 29. That's usually where they cap that. But both paths are designed to support people who are building their music careers and want access to education, to networking, to mentorship, to industry opportunities and industry events. But here's the bigger picture. Membership isn't just about saying you're part of the Recording Academy. It's about participation. It's about showing up, building relationships, advocating for music creators, learning how the industry works, learning how the industry is changing, being part of that change, and contributing to the community. So before you start the application process, if you're not in the Recording Academy, ask yourself, are your credits organized? Is your bio updated? Can people verify your work? Do your links clearly show your activity in the music industry? And do you have relationships with at least 2 professionals who can genuinely recommend you? Because this is not just a form, it's a community driven process. And I actually didn't think that I was going to get into the Recording Academy, because for the longest time I thought the Academy was for those people who were releasing music on streaming platforms, those people who were getting platinum and gold records, or diamond records, million album streams and things like that. My focus was mostly on sync. So in my application, I leaned in on the sync background. I leaned in on the custom music. I leaned in on the trailers. And of course, I had 2 great recommendations from current Academy members. I didn't think I was going to get in 2024. I thought, I applied the day of the deadline, like February 28th, or it was literally like the day of the deadline, and lo and behold, a couple months later, I got the acceptance letter, got into the Academy, and have been enjoying being a part of this community ever since. And they do a lot, as I mentioned. There's a lot more behind the scenes. It's like I said, it's not just the Grammys. If I this is the site here. Let me see, what can I show without getting in trouble? You can find more on their site. They do some more that my membership should not have ended. I just renewed it. So you can tell. So I got in June 25th. That's when I got in. And then you pay the fee, which I didn't share yet. I'll share that shortly. But there's a lot of, you get discounts, membership perks. Last year, I think you get an annual ear test. So I got a free ear test, to test my hearing. They have Music Cares. They do initiatives for music creators who may be affected through whatever type of things through the Music Cares initiative. You have the Grammy Museum, you have Grammy U, you have the Grammy Fund for Creators. There's a lot. They have different wings. For example, the Producers and Engineers wing. They have the Songwriters and Composers wing. There's a lot of scholarship opportunities. There's a lot here that I can't even get into in this video. You can find out more about what membership means and what it does. And what is this one here? And then they give you a roadmap for the events and things that they have throughout the year. I'm not going to go through all these, of course, but they give you, hey, July, this is what we plan on doing this year. August, September. There's also an iOS app. There might also be an Android app, but I'm iOS. They have an app that has all this information as well. I can go through. I can even do my ballots through the app. So there's a lot that you can dive into as being a member or by being a member. So as far as pricing, let me get this right. The annual for voting member or professional member is $150 a year. It is a membership. You are part of this community. If you're going to invest that into your membership, make sure you are taking advantage of all the opportunities that the Recording Academy is offering throughout the year. You also get first dibs on Grammy tickets to the ceremony if you can make it to the ceremony. You can also submit your music to be considered, as I mentioned, for Grammy Awards up to 5, I believe. You can submit it to up to 5 categories. That's a whole different process that you can find out more about what that is about from the Grammy and the Recording Academy YouTube page and their social media. For the Grammy U membership, the pricing is $50 for 4 years, meaning $50, that's it, for 4 years. And then after the 4 years, if you're still under that age, you can still, or if you're still in college, you can still pay $50 annually as your membership, as a member in the Grammy U. And then once you graduate from college or things like that, then you can you can convert your membership to a full membership. I don't know if the conversion from GRAMMY U to a full member still requires the recommendation process that like a voting and professional member has. That part I'm not sure. But for GRAMMY U, you still need a recommendation, but it does not take up one of the recommendations of a current member. So each current member, I don't know if I mentioned this, has 2 recommendations per year. So from March 2nd to February or to March 1st of next year, we have 2 recommendations we can give out per year, no more, no less. And there are a lot of people who don't use their recommendations. So you can still find people last minute, but I think it's best to right now start posting like, hey, I'm trying to get into the Recording Academy next year. Does anyone have any recommendations? You might be surprised who knows someone that knows someone that knows someone in your circle. Post to social media, post to your newsletter, post on your platforms, go live and say, hey, I'm trying to get into the Recording Academy. Does anyone have any recommendations? I have a list of people who've asked me for recommendations over the years, and as each year passes, more and more people get added to the list. I'm like, I only have 2 that I can give as a member. Again, you don't need member recommendations, but I believe that it does help make your argument if you get recommendations from current members. All right. So if you are serious about growing in the music industry, joining organizations like the Recording Academy can be one way to get more connected, more informed, and more involved. If you are thinking about applying, let me know in the comments the path that fits you best: voting membership, professional membership, or GRAMMY U. I got our daughter into GRAMMY U, and of course I'm a voting member in the DC chapter. I didn't even talk about the chapters. That's one thing I should mention, and I should find the chapters. Let's go to Recording Academy chapters. There are currently, I want to say 12 chapters. 12 chapters, got it right. So we have the Atlanta chapter, Chicago chapter, Florida chapter, Los Angeles chapter, Memphis chapter, Nashville, New York, Pacific Northwest, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Texas, and DC. I am currently in the DC chapter. Now, you don't have to live in or even close to any of these chapters to join these chapters, but you do have to pick a chapter to be a member of. So there are members in the Recording Academy that are in Europe, like Germany and France, and they can choose, California if they want. They can choose DC. They can choose whichever chapter they want to identify with the most. But you do have to choose a chapter as a member. So if you're in Canada, maybe you want to do the New York or Philadelphia chapter. You get to choose. You do have to choose one, and then you'll be getting those messages from that specific chapter. You can also find out what's happening in other chapters, but there are currently 12 regional chapters. Maybe more will be added over time. So that's one thing that I should note. And also it helps that knowing what these chapters are, because if I am going to be traveling to LA for NAMM, for example, I can reach out to the LA chapter and say, hey, I'll be in town for this week. Are there any chapter events going on that I can be a part of? Or if I'm going to San Francisco or New York or any of these places, you can reach out to them through their chapter emails. Each chapter has an email you can reach out to and find out what's happening if you happen to be traveling there. And I can say, hey, I'm Marcus from the DC chapter. I'll be traveling to Texas for South by Southwest this year. Is anything happening with the Texas chapter during South by Southwest or leading up to South by Southwest or after South by Southwest? So it's a great community of musicians, people who love music, people who advocate for music. And again, outside of music, there's a lot of advocacy happening. There's a thing called Grammy on the Hill, where some members are going to the Hill to advocate and lobby for music rights and, not against AI, but making sure AI is being used ethically and crediting and paying music creators the right way. So there's a lot that the Recording Academy does to support music creators. I'm glad to be a part. I'm blessed and honored to be a part. These are things that I didn't even know the Academy did. I just thought it was an award show, and that was it. And it's way more. The award show is basically just the most public-facing thing that the world knows about, but there's so much behind the scenes. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for showing you a little bit of this behind the scenes, but I wanted to make sure, because of what I posted yesterday as a Grammy mentor, people were asking me, how do you become part of the Recording Academy? So there's a process. You can apply by March 1st every year. You'll find out by end of July every year if you are in. So yeah, if you're serious about growing in the music industry, check it out. If you're going to apply, let me know in the comments. If you want more guidance on sync licensing, music business, building your career in the music industry, join the Skool community. There's a link in the description as well. Let me check the comments here. Thank you for tuning in, Gerard Kenneth. Shadiq, thank you for tuning in. I missed being a member last year because everyone used their 2 votes. Shadiq, definitely keep posting. You said you had 1 vote, so I think you still have to get 2 new votes. So post to social media, say, hey, I'm trying to be a member. Definitely don't wait till the last minute. Like, start posting today. Like, hey, I'm trying to get to the academy next year. Does anyone have 2 votes that you can send my way? And like I said, you got 1 last year, so you were 1 away. You're almost there. And it's a process. When I do recommendations, I usually get on Zoom with the person who I'm recommending so that they can tell me about them, and I'm making sure I'm saying the right things about them. The other thing I will mention, because you shouldn't do this, you should never pay someone to give you a recommendation. So if you're asking someone to give you a recommendation, they're like, yeah, I'll do a recommendation for $300, $500. That's not how this works. Find someone who wants to give their time, someone ideally that can work with you and get that recommendation, and never pay someone to give you a recommendation. That's a whole other thing. So, all right, check the link in the description if you want more guidance on sync licensing, music business, building your career in the industry. Join the Skool community, link in the description. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Be safe and be well, everyone. All right. Peace.